Hi again, everyone. This video is sponsored by a contribution from Rebecca, and here's her story. Hey, Ollie, it's Rebecca again. First, I have to say thank you for all the videos. You don't owe it to anyone to allow the narc into your life, the jealous, narcissistic stepmother, and again, the only way to win against the narcissist is not to play. You have done for me. Even when I have been strapped for cash, still I am sad. Still I am sadly, but hoping to get you a donation soon. I feel guilty with you putting work in, but not getting anything. It's like doing art for exposure, which I'm sure your wife knows the pain. And I appreciate your contribution. I do. I was writing because I had some realizations come to light about my father and why he might be sticking with the hag, mainly guilt over my real mom. While out to lunch with my sister-in-law, while out to lunch with my sister-in-law Holly, she told me how Kathy the hag liked to bash my real mother for dying. For those of you who aren't familiar with Rebecca's story, Rebecca's mother died at 6, and she ended up with this hag of a stepmother, Kathy, who's just been out to destroy her whole life. She never did this in front of any of us kids. I can only be thankful for that because, wait, hold on. While out to lunch with my sister-in-law, Holly, she told me how Kathy the hag liked to bash my real mother for dying, though she never did this in front of any of us kids. I can only be thankful for that because that would have resulted in jail time. So she was at least that smart, sadly. Holly, however, Holly was, however, shocked that my dad would say nothing when it was done in front of him and just let this woman go on about how terrible my mom's diet was and how much she smoked being what killed her and such. This made the hag a hypocrite, of course, because she also smoked for a long time and still has a crappy diet. That, however, is not the point of this letter, since we know how narcs love to be above things and such. And those of you who don't know or remember, Rebecca's mother died of a heart attack when she was 6, I believe. I told Holly that Kathy the hag was full of it anyways, because that was not what killed Mom. At some point, while talking with my dad at some family function, he told me and others how while my mother's health might have been a contributing factor, the real reason was because of a motorcycle accident. My mom's leg was torn up from it, but she refused to go to the hospital due to no medical insurance and not being able to handle the bill. At some point, a clot broke off in her leg and traveled to her heart. This is what killed her. It didn't occur to me, though, until talking with Holly, that there was only one person with a motorcycle around my mother who would have been riding, my dad. He would commonly take us all for joyrides on his motorcycle, including my mom, and he admits to letting her talk him out of taking her to the hospital. He is very big on responsibility. As such, I think he might blame himself for her death. Pretty much. Like he said, he was saying she had this motorcycle accident, but didn't say who with, and I'm surprised nobody asked, like, well, what were the circumstances? But that's what narcissism does. It shuts down your ability to think. It shuts down your ability to ask the logical follow-up question. Well, how did this happen? Whose motorcycle was? So at 6 years old, you've lost your mother. Okay. And now you've been so conditioned and screwed over by Kathy the hag and so conditioned to have negativity towards her because of Kathy that you don't even think for the follow-up question like, well, wait a minute, whose motorcycle was my mom on when she died, when she had this accident? Just shuts down your ability to think. I had been struggling greatly trying to understand my dad's reasons for everything, from his abandoning us after mom's death to listening to Kathy to ignoring the abuse we suffered. before he met Kathy, I think he was he was away working and living with her grandparents and didn't see much of her dad. And then I think it continued after Kathy was around. Now I can't help but to think it might be guilt driven or just trying to avoid the children that remind him of his dead wife. My oldest brother is a spitting image of my mom, and I know I display a lot of similar traits, according to family. While it doesn't excuse his enabling, I think it sheds some light on how he operated. I was hoping to ask you, though, because you are impartial, and I'm hoping to keep myself from doing anything stupid like reaching out, because I feel pity for the man that was so destroyed after losing his wife that he decided, intentionally or not, to destroy his children as well. Added bonus amusement. Hag apparently got offended from something I put on Facebook saying I had an abusive childhood. She learned that from my dad's Facebook, and I have since removed him. I missed him the first time around purging enablers. I had to laugh because I had never called dad abusive, only her, but she insisted that I called them both this after everything they have done for me. Ah, yes, the classic narc line of how dare we be so offended and pissy with them when they made sure we had the basic needs and trashed us as much as possible. Obviously, we should be grateful that they decided to do that basic requirement of having children, or in my case, the basic requirement to have my brother and be dragged along to be slaves in the house. Aren't we survivors terrible? Turn off sarcasm. I did have one more question, if possible. My youngest brother and golden child, Rob, finally moved out and is off to Korea, teaching like he wanted to do. With a lack of targets, I'm worried the hag might try to pull me in again via my dad as her usual method of operation. Anything I should be on the lookout for. Just in case she tries changing tactics on me. While my husband is confident that I'll be okay, I'm less so, and know my dad and family are my weak points. Thoughts? Yeah, with a lack of targets, she's going to go back to the main one. You. How is she going to do that? Health. Your father's going to die. He's sick. He doesn't know where it's going to start on that. It's all going to be guilt derivative. It's all going to be guilt driven. All of it. Happenings in the family, people dying, so and so's sick, so and so's that. That's your typical red flags from when they're going to try to draw you in. If your brother Rob moved to Korea, they're about out of options. Now, back to your larger point, your larger question. You should not feel pity for your father because he may have some guilt over not going to the hospital and feeling he killed your mother. Well, like I said originally, the fact that it was so vague, that it was a motorcycle accident, and it wasn't until later on that you put two and two together that he was the only one with a motorcycle, is telling. Because he kept it vague. And he also is able to control the narrative at that point because your mother's already dead. So is it really her that didn't want to go to the hospital? Because if he was so taking care of everything, why would he abandon you like he did with this one, with this woman Kathy, and after she died? If he has this responsible protective gene, he doesn't. It's because he pays for things doesn't mean he's protecting you. So it might have been your mother who didn't want to go to the hospital. It might have been him who didn't want to go to the hospital for whatever the reason. Who knows? Who knows? But let's just say he's telling the truth. That's exactly what happened. She didn't want to go to the hospital. And now you feel bad for him because he rejected you and your brother and bailed out of guilt because he couldn't look at the two of you because you reminded him so much of his wife. Well, that's a selfish decision. That's a selfish decision to make. Because that's, again, putting his own needs in front of the needs of his children, in front of the needs of his young children, to leave him with some narcissistic asshole. Why? Why? He doesn't get any pity out of that. If he's responsible, he gets even less. Because if he really felt responsible for your mother's death, the way you're trying to give him credit for, then he should have been there to take care of his responsibilities. He should have been there to take care of the two children who remind him so much of what he feels guilty about killing. But he didn't do that. I told you this before. Your father takes the easy way out of everything. He is the covert narcissist. He always has been. He always will be. Think about how deep that you had to put it together later on in life how your mother died. After your father kind of told you the story with no follow-up, no nothing. It's very, very telling. It's very telling. So it's a real sad way for your mom to have died like that. And whether your father blames himself or not, or where there was, it's nothing to do with you. It's still on him. And it's not something that you should be pitying him about. And you better be sure, because it looks like it's getting to a point where age is becoming a factor and health might become a factor. That's how your mother and your stepmother is going to try to hoover you back in. So it looks like you're the closest option she's got since one of her latest supply moved to Korea. So yeah, I would look for any type of interaction that would require any sort of emotional giving up on your end, because that's how it works. Okay, well, I hope that helped. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, or you'd like to set up a private video made, or a Skype or phone call, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. If you have any questions, just follow the instructional video, the intro video to my chat at the top of the channel page. Also, remember to like and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be notified of all my videos. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.